Welcome to a new edition I'm calling Attack of the Weebs. Oh yes, we got wonderful stories about weeaboos. Stories told by a weeaboo himself. Yes, dear friends, I've been a weeaboo. Not really hardcore, but I have to say, since the mid-90s, anime in Japan have always had a special place in my heart. But unfortunately, there's also some very cringy things that comes from weeaboos, and that's what we're going to be going over today. So, strap in, get ready for some nice cringy moments, and maybe even some neckbeards. And we might stumble across some neckbeards in here. So get ready, strap in, here we go. I've been seeing a lot of over-enthusiastic Japan lovers all over the place, even in my recent gigs. But one encounter really got me triggered, and it really gave me a lasting impression. Well, enough about me. Let's get right into it. This happened from outside my line of work. Actually, I rarely encounter big ones for myself, except for this one. And he wasn't a very good one to begin with. I was spending some of my leisure time in the mall, which I frequent quite often. I'm only accompanied by myself as I'm strolling from place to place. One fun fact about me, I love window shopping. It's not that I don't have money to buy stuff, it's more like, why would I buy it if I don't need it, kind of thing. It's just kind of fun. Anyways, I'm at a video game store, and I'm just going through the games on the shelves. Now the video game stores in our country aren't really huge, not as big as GameStop, for those of you who are Westerners. It's just a big and spacey place, like a regular convenience store. I was aware of my surroundings at the time. It was just me, the cashier at the desk, and 2 store clerks. Probably within 10 to 15 minutes, another customer walks in, and one of the store clerks greeted him. "Good afternoon, sir. Would you be looking for a console or a PC game?" The gentleman, who was wearing your standard Weeb equipment, a shirt sporting an anime character, which I didn't recognize, cargo shorts, a backpack riddled with pins on the strap, responds and says, "Yeah, I'm looking for a PlayStation 4 game." Then the clerk responds, "Ah, PlayStation 4 games. Well, they're over there on the shelf." Well, this gentleman, an amalgamation of pure sass, responds, "Yeah, I know where it is." Now, I'm kind of getting where sass is coming from. I myself, I don't like being babied or followed around by the store clerk, so I kind of understand. That goes especially in a video game store. But let's continue on. So this gentleman, now facing the PlayStation 4 shelves, is skimming through the titles with his finger, going side to side on each row. It was obvious he was looking for something. "It's not here," he muttered silently. I was viewing the contents of the PC section, which is probably just 3 feet from where he was. "It's not here," he muttered again. The clerk, who's trying to keep his distance, then tries to offer help. "Which title are you looking for, sir?" And he responds, "No, you might not know it." From where I'm standing, I slowly turn my head to look at this fine young gentleman. Did I hear that right? Did he just say to a store clerk, a person hired and paid to make it his business as regard to video games, that he might not know what the game is? Well, the store clerk, he's completely devoid of sarcasm, gives a genuine smile, and says, "Well, I think I can look it up for you if you can give me the title. I do try to keep track of all the games we sell here." Now, I'm a regular at the store. Call me biased, but this store clerk, he's been in this store for a long time, since the PlayStation 3 era. This guy, he also introduced me to Dark Souls. So yeah, the gentleman, he responds with more sass this time. "Okay, sure. How's your Japanese then?" Why? I can't blame the clerk for being confused. Even I'm a bit confused. "It's a Japanese game. Unless you have a Japanese keyboard, you might not be able to search it up in the log." I felt some primal instinct swelling up in me as I heard this. The store clerk, still being a nice guy, tries to ask again for the game's name. Then the gentleman says, "So, do you have a Japanese keyboard?" No sir. I was just thinking that if I got the title, it might ring a bell. And... "Ah, so you know Nihongo then?" "No, not at all, but I have seen Japanese titles here that we sell, so I'll try to look it up for you. If you just give me the..." "So, you don't know Nihongo? How would you know what to look for then? It's written in hiragana, so how would you read it?" Hooray, now I'm triggered. The store clerk just brushes it off and calmly asks him, "Sir, if you can just give me the title, then I'll find a way to look it up." After hearing that, I kid you not, this is what this 25-year-old baby did. Minus the smirk, he had an index finger on his chin, and he looks to be thinking, complete with the audible sound. After a few seconds, he then says the game's title. Now, I speak Japanese, and you really don't have to know a word of Japanese to realize that Sir Gentleweeb was a poser. After the store clerk hears it, he then repeats the title back to confirm it. Even to my surprise, he says it way better than he does. It wasn't perfect, but it was definitely better by a landslide. The store clerk then excuses himself and goes to the cashier's desk. He then asks the cashier to get a copy of the game that was in a cabinet behind her. The cashier hands him a rectangular box, then he returns to our lovely Weeaboo. "Here it is, sir. I told you I could find it."
"Oh, yeah. It is it, thanks."
This is the huge punchline, everybody. The store clerk says to him, "You're welcome. Is there anything else you're looking for?"
No. But do you happen to have the English version of this game?"
I had a stalker in college, and it was terrifying, for reasons that will become apparent. So I'm a bio major, aka the best type of science. I hung out with a pretty nerdy crowd. LAN parties, MTG parties, demo scenes, Warhammer 40k, the whole 9 yards. Some, probably most, of the said hobbies tend to attract the, awkward and undesirable. For the most part though, everybody I hung out with was pretty chill. Then entered David. That's not his real name, but it's pretty close. David was an accident of a human being, extremely bad hygiene, negative social skills, looked like a shambling mound of awful wrapped in an anime shirt. I tried to avoid him, but he wormed his way into the periphery of my friend group, and for some reason, my friends and I got to talking about our childhoods. I grew up in Japan. I did some modeling work there as a kid. David, he was not in the room when I discussed this. He was hovering in the hallway, being weird, and I guess he overheard us. The next day, he's just bursting with enthusiasm, and he waddles up to me and says,
"Echo-chan was a model? In Japan? So kiwi!"
I told him to drop the honorifics and to leave me alone. I was polite, to a point. He did not understand why I disliked him, and didn't want to sleep with him. Like, he literally could not process the thought that I did not want him. I told him that he wasn't my type. That failed. I told him that I found him unattractive. That didn't work either. I finally had to go full bitch mode. And I told him that I found him to be unintelligent, repugnant, and the very idea of being with him made me want to puke. If you guessed that didn't faze him, ding ding. You are correct. He kept following me for 2 months, always spouting badly pronounced Japanese words and shouting hentai recommendations at me. So this all came to a head when he gets into my dorm room. My stupid roommate let him in because
He said he was your friend.
he was waiting for me in my private dorm room. He bear hugged me, so I couldn't get away. Then he tried to make out with me. Now I have PTSD from stuff that happened in high school, and I went immediately into panic mode. I bit his arm so hard that I ripped a decent chunk out of his disgusting greasy skin. He screamed loud enough to wake the dead. Then he backed off. I called the cops. They arrested him. He ended up getting expelled for this. So yeah, I no longer talk about growing up in Japan in real life, and you can thank this greasy moron for that. So tonight I went to a bar with a few friends. One of them, we're going to name him Eric. Now Eric is a devout Christian man. He has a very skewed view of the world, thinking that no woman wants to have sex, and that every person is the very best version of their stereotype. But Eric is also a weeb. He is a huge Japan nerd. He watches all the anime and calls it art. He has samurai ninja swords. He speaks some Japanese. He even does some martial arts, although poorly. So he's 24, and he has yet to kiss a girl. He's not bad looking. So we're at the bar, and he picks this girl. She is a gorgeous Asian woman. We're talking a 9 to 10 on the gorgeous scale. So he strides up to her, all confident, and she actually turns to face him. She pushes a bit of hair behind her ear, so in that moment, Eric is bound and determined to get this girl of his dreams. If only he would have just stopped there. This idiot started speaking Japanese, and he wouldn't quit, no matter how many times she said,
What the f?
or,
I speak English.
but he just trudged on. He did the weird anime thing, like scratching the back of his head, and that stupid smile on his face, and he continued to speak Japanese. This poor girl just gives up, and she snaps at him.
Look, dude, I'm Vietnamese. Just speak English.
So he apologizes in Japanese, and she turns around and ignores him. You could hear his heart ripping from across the room, hearing it sink. So like good friends, we all died laughing. I fell out of my chair. I was in tears. And for the rest of the night, he told us that she was the one for him, and told us about their future wedding. Poor guy. It all began years back, during my junior year of high school, 11th grade if you're not in the US. It was my first class of the day, which happened to be the advanced German language class. Typically everyone there had 2 years of German prior, and it's usually only one teacher who teaches the class. The teacher knew everyone by name, and everyone knew each other very well. However, that year we received a new student. He came from a high school across town. I will refer to him as Lanky. Lanky was an annoying weeb for many reasons. In language classes, you usually change your name to another name, more native to the class. So for instance, my real name would be Eric, but in class, it would be Sivan. And please forgive me if I don't pronounce these correctly. Well, Lanky decided to call himself the most mysterious and edgy name possible, Draken, which means dragon in English. Personally, I'm a live and let live kind of guy, so initially it didn't bother me. But that was kind of a red flag. He seemed to always be in a fight with the classmates, and not for any good reasons. The second day of school, he got into an argument with a resident stoner over politics. Now, Lanky loved politics. He wanted to talk about it non-stop, even though he had no idea what the heck he was talking about. He was actually the definition of a neckbeard, red pill guy. Fedora, Milady, Mountain Dew and Doritos, all that jazz. In all honesty, I really think he had a touch of autism, although I can't be sure. That's no excuse for some of the stuff he said and shared with people unprovoked. Lanky was also a big fan of many cringy, at best, borderline illegal, at worst, fandoms including anime, My Little Pony, hentai, My Little Pony hentai, Sonic the Hedgehog, Lolicon, and etc. He repelled just about everyone he came into contact with because he was so open about this crap. I mean, honesty is the best policy, but keep that furry pony lolly hentai stuff to yourself. Anyways, months go by and he's relatively bearable. Considering I only see him for like 1 hour a day, he does his weeb crap, and I do my regular person stuff. That is until, of course, he sees me outside of class with my girlfriend. She is Vietnamese. His face lights up, and he comes charging up to me, and he basically shrieks,
Oh, who's your friend?
and I was like, this is Trey, my girlfriend. Lanky, for some horrific reason, made a squeal akin to a dying pig, and starts talking to my girlfriend in Japanese. Now, I don't speak Japanese, but I do understand most of what he said, and he was trying to do it in a seductive tone, and I kid you not, he introduced himself as an emo from some trash anime. Here's the fact about Trey. She really does not like weebs, or anything remotely Japanese. When people mistake her for being Japanese, she rips them a new hole. The fact that Lanky, a clear-cut weeb, thought she was Japanese boiled her blood more than the hottest volcano on Earth. She tried to keep her cool, and she responded,
I'm not Japanese, dude. I'm American.
but Lanky didn't care. He went on about how much he loves anime, and that they should go see anime together, and that she's more beautiful than Asuna, or some crap like that. At this point, I've reached my max tolerance for this, and I explode at him. I was like,
Dude, are you f***ing kidding me? Are you so f***ing dense that you can't see it or you're avoiding it? She has a boyfriend and she's not Japanese. F*** off already.
luckily for me, Lanky finally got the hint, and he went away. That was the last time I spoke to him for several months, although there are more stories about him. My wife did date a Weeb at one time, and I asked her to recall some of the days dating this guy, who was a complete Weeb. She has no interest in anything Japanese. And here's a few moments that she noted. 1. She saw that he had fallen asleep watching cutesy anime with a bowl of cereal in his lap. 2. He purchased his first figurine and immediately bought a glass display case that costed more than the figurine. 3. He always used the Princess Bubblegum rally car in GTA 5, and he called it the Weebmobile. 4. He flaunted several gigabytes of anime reaction images, which were sorted and tagged individually for quick searching. 5. He never shut up about Evangelion and watched it several times during their relationship, more times than anyone ever should. 6. He always picked anime girls or peppy female characters in video games. He also applied cat ears to anything that he could in games. 7. He openly cried multiple times watching anime on the few occasions that she joined him. 8. When they visited New York City, his only souvenir was another anime figurine. 9. He bought a Kill la Kill t-shirt from a Comic-Con, and it was clearly a woman's tee, and it was too small for him. And number 10. He showed tentacle hentai to everyone at a party during a drunken discussion about anime. What's worse is she actually married this weeb trash. Our first anniversary is next June. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Attack of the Weebs. I really loved the last one. That was my favorite one. But yes, there are quite a bit of cringy things that weebs do, and I'm sure I'm not the least of them. I'm too lazy to learn Japanese, so I'm not gonna do that. Tell you what, for the longest time, I have tried to draw anime. I'm not really great at it. I mean, I'm not bad at it, but if you ever notice some of my drawings from some of the episodes that I've posted, I do have some chibi type anime that I've drawn, so yeah. I officially have some weeb tendencies, so I kind of relate. Although I'm willing to laugh about it, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So thank you. I'd like to know what you thought about it. I might continue this in the future if you guys enjoy it. Well, again, thank you for joining me, and until next time, this is Dallas, signing off.